saw you sitting by yourself. Thought you could use some company.
Here's what I don't understand. So, like, this is Chuck. Hi, Chuck. He's a big fat nerdy kid. Haha, cool joke. You love to see it, don't you, folks? But, well, here's the first thing. From minute one that Chuck enters frame, he is clearly way cooler than Mac. Anyone could tell you that. Mac sucks. Item 2, though. What's with this huge stack of ham sandwiches? He has also got like 3 muffins and a Pepsi. Although most kids do seem to have one of those, with the label conspicuously facing towards the camera. You wouldn't normally consider ham sandwiches to be like funny fat joke food though, right? Add to this another mystery. Nowhere in the cafeteria are they serving ham sandwiches. Why did Chuck even get these? Why does he love ham sandwiches so much? Why is nobody else talking about this? Consider, though, the following. Perhaps Chuck got those from the catering stand for the cast and crew, and not the cafeteria for the other high schoolers. Perhaps Chuck is aware that he is merely a character in a terrible kids show where half of the cast are made of garbage early art CGI, and the other half are made of wood. Perhaps this is a little nod to those like me. Those who would dig a little deeper. Life is a dream, traveler. And then you wake. Wait. What? We're rolling? Right now? Oh, fuck. No. Yeah, I can fix this. Let me just get... I can get this working. This is no problem. 10-second job. 10 seconds. Fuck!
Chris Redfield. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. ALBERT Wesker.
Look at this fucking asshole.
Resident Evil.
Wesker. So you've come.
Albert Wesker first appeared in Resident Evil 1 as the captain of STAR's Alpha team, where he dramatically slicked back his hair before revealing he was also a double agent for the evil Umbrella Corporation.
I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about.
He'd go on to be a recurring antagonist, most notably the rival to, or at least the closest living animate person-based analogue of a rival to, Chris Redfield, the man who's actually like 5 different men. I'm sure we'll get to Chris. Wesker is, from minute one, just the worst guy. He's not sneaky or weird about it. He's not messing you around. He's just trash. He's a big, fancy, arrogant fuck with superpowers, and he's here to make a mess of everything, just to spite you. I'm not sure if subtlety was ever intended in any aspect of Wesker, or if that subtlety just didn't make it past the language barrier when Biohazard was translated over.
You killed them with your own dirty hands.
But you can't help but respect this big, gleeful, evil ham on some level, just in terms of sheer dedication to the bit, of being the worst possible guy. Everything about him is horrible. Everything he touches or involves himself in is terrible, and he never has any real ambition beyond making more things more worse for more people. Complete global saturation. Baby.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker? He's still alive? What are you doing here?
I came for Alexia.
Who?
An organization hired me to capture her.
Wait, you attacked the island.
And my sister!
Wesker dies at the end of Resident Evil 1, killed unceremoniously by the big scary monster he's trying to sick on you. But that doesn't take, and by Code Veronica, a bad game for assholes, he's not just back, but he has Neo from the Matrix powers now. In RE4 Mercenaries, you can even play as him, and level whole battalions of Spanish peasants with his Super Wesker punch. All the RE games between 4 and 7 are hot garbage, as we know, but we are briefly going to have to talk about RE5 here, fair warning. Oh yeah, it's RE5 now. It's 2009, Chris has died and regenerated into Wide Chris, racism's in vogue, I can carry exactly 8 objects, and there's this crazy lady running around trying to use all her health items on me, but I've only been hit 1 time. Al Wesker's back, and we gotta stop him. Oh jeez, oh gosh. The boy has a couple standout moments in this one we gotta mention before we can keep going. Firstly, he's implanted a mind control gem into Jill that changes her hair colour and makes her a ninja. We hate this, we hate to see it, we hate to see our girl done dirty like that, and the boss fight is phenomenally awful. The part right before that though, where Wesker looks through his busy schedule, hustler and grinder that he is, and realises he has an exactly 7-minute long window free to fight you in. He'll then fight you, for a period of 7 actual, real-world minutes. I don't know why, but I always just thought this was really novel. And very, very silly, of course. You can make him leave earlier if you do enough damage too. I guess he just remembered another pressing commitment. Next we have to talk about the quick time event where he throws his sunglasses at you and you have to catch them or you fucking die? What's the deal with that quick time event where he throws his sunglasses at you and you have to catch him or you fucking die? It's crazy, right? Thirdly, that boss fight, man, is perfect. Wesker stumbles around in the dark wearing sunglasses, knocking over furniture and bumping into walls, demanding that you reveal yourself while you and your second player of choice just stand there in plain sight.
There's no point in hiding.
Laughing too hard IRL to actually push any of the buttons on the controller. The way to beat him is one guy's got to find a rocket launcher and shoot it at him. Classic RE. But what's this? He'll catch the rocket out of the air with his superb powers. But you've got a brief window for player 2 to shoot it out of his hands before he flicks it away. Good game design this, as pulling off the one accurate shot to hit the rocket is actually very hard to do while belly laughing as hard as me and my brother were during our first run of this fight. It took a very long time and it never stopped being funny. I don't know what they were trying to do with this awful man, period. I don't know what his deal is, beyond the first game where he's just generically bad in a kind of corporate way. I don't know to what extent he's meant to be a serious antagonist, and to what extent he's a funny clown man who's always up to some weird new form of chicanery. All I can say for certain are the facts. Wesker had gone on to be tragically exploded while swimming in a volcano. He's dead now, but they brought him back for the RE4 remake's quite excellent Assignment Ada DLC, and he's up to his old ways, playing the hits. I do miss his original voice though. The new one is markedly less silly. The wiki says he's meant to be a super genius as well as a teleporting super strong karate expert, and is a top scientist specialising in bioscience and bioengineering, but clearly he doesn't know how to take off his shades inside, so I don't know what to tell you. That's Wesker. He's real dumb and real powerful. A distinct, recognisable face to the series' faceless evil super corporation, a foil to a character with no consistent definable traits, a funny little scamp bent on the ultimate destruction of the human race. Above all, Albert Wesker is a Sigma male. And that's the rarest form of male, folks. Alright boys, listen up. We are making a brand new tactical wargaming series. The games are going to have a wide diversity of units spanning land, sea and air. and seeing 4 armies engaged in brutal, bloody combat. But for kids, because, you know, we're Nintendo. We're going to have direct and indirect forms of combat, night missions, and you know what? Let's throw in a super meter in there. Magic powers, that's what we need. All this carnage and bloodshed is going to take place to a backdrop of a bunch of children whining at each other and learning about airports for the first time. The children will be military officers. Also, this is just too fast. What's even happening? I can't keep track of all the little... Fuck it, make it turn-based. All of this will be brought to life through the awesome power of the Game Boy Advance.
All right, we're gonna start your exam now. You might feel a little pressure, okay?
Oh, what's that?
Well, it looks like Frogger Advanced.
Oh man, it's spelling time. Everybody, it's E-Man, the Man of Men. Welcome back to Advance Wars.
Well, actually, Advance Wars was the natural progression of the ongoing Game Boy / Famicom Wars series. I already know, please stop typing your comment. I can hear you typing your stupid comment. But that was only everything in Japan, and also, it's not particularly interesting. As a wise man once said, it's not on the list. In the interest of tedious thoroughness, though, Game Boy Wars has hexes instead of squares and hurts to look at. It's bad. 2 out of 10. This isn't a... Famicom Wars is traditionally bright and colourful, and has this, which is pretty cool. But it doesn't really have any of the game parts of the game, you know? Super Famicom Wars is a bit closer to what we're after, with some cool looking sprites and actual COs, a very important part of the later series. It is just death matches though. There's no story or challenge maps. The super meter's not in there yet. There's an anti-air version of the artillery which can only shoot targets 2 or 3 spaces away, even though all air units have 6 or more moves, so good luck. I hear the AI is surprisingly good in this one, but my point stands. They're not quite there yet. Lamb cooked.
And screw you!
Advance Wars was, however, a real series. And get this, it slapped. Had. Brought to life by the minds behind the long-running Fire Emblem series, we'll get to that. But the cliff notes are, it's an RPG strategy franchise notable for being just a little bit worse than Advance Wars was. Sometimes significantly worse. Please take 3 houses away from me. I once heard the reason they gave up on Wars is that they wanted to bring over the support system from Emblem, but couldn't think of a satisfying way to make all the little tanks fall in love. This is almost certainly bullshit, but judging by the way the series has gone since then, definitely not impossible.
Peeved. That's Mr. Superman. Okay? Why you gotta be such a dick? Okay? This is not the DCU, okay? This is the Marvel Universe. You can stop being such a dick.
I first played Advance Wars at primary school on a friend's Game Boy. Cheers, Kieran, if you're out there. And I was so immediately hooked that I ordered my parents to take me to game that weekend so I could get my own copy. I'm the guy who doesn't like Nintendo particularly. The one and only. But even I was goddamn hooked. I wasn't, like, good at it, and I was well into high school by the time I actually beat the thing. I'd go on to hit up the challenge maps, tool around with the arcade mode, and replay the campaign once every 2 or 3 years. For a while there, I'd even put Advance Wars in my top 10 games of all time list. The sequel, anyway. Wars 1 is still just a little under.
So we still got enough time to murder him and his little...
Prepare to fight in the name of Blue Moon. Alright, so you can choose your CO for this mission. I find that Cullen is the only, not the only, but the best CO for this mission. In the hard mode, he's like the only CO you can use in that mission. I'm not sure if it's possible to do it with the other 2. So we're going to just go ahead and use Cullen here. Then I can also introduce him. He's a new Blue Moon CO in Advance Wars 2.
Advance Wars 2 would be an exercise in tightening up the mixes and adding more stuff. More COs, more powers, and a 5th full army. In my opinion, Advance Wars 2 was where they got it right. Some of the less fun busted stuff had been leveled out. Nobody gets a 50% damage boost as a day-to-day power now, for example. And replace that with Colin, who is also completely broken, but in a funny way. The C units were reworked, as they would continue to be every game in the franchise because they were terrible all the way up to Days of Ruin. Neo-tanks exist now, which is fun, because they are circles. Everyone has 2 tiers of special move, the way it should be, which take more or less power stars to achieve depending on how busted they are. Unless you're Colin, who just gets to do what he wants. His dad's loaded. Also, everyone has their own music track that plays during their turn. They did in the first one too, but it's cool, and I like it. The music's good in these, it's fun stuff.
Cheaper price, and then it's a really cheap price. His CO power, his Gold Rush, this is the most broken thing ever. It boosts your deployment.
It's probably the way to go.
Moving away from the GBA and onto the DS, Dual Strike had twice as many little screens and a whole bunch of stuff. Crazy amounts of stuff. Maybe too much stuff. Maybe take like half of this stuff back actually, please. Are you going to level up your guys now? Put little skills on them that are broken? You can be 2 guys at once and do just all the things. There's a real-time mode in the form of a minigame that is bad. There's a new main guy, and he talks like an asshole. I'm torn on Dual Strike. It's definitely good, but I think it was a step backwards for the series. Swapping between 2 COs with their own bonuses and powers during battle is a cool system, although some characters do benefit more than others from being able to tag in or out, and one of those is Colin. Please don't give Colin any more things. The Dual Strike powers, though, just let you do way too much in one turn, essentially triggering the superpower of both characters with Eagle's Lightning Strike thrown in as a bonus for good measure. What if you're already Eagle, though? I hear you ask. Just take 3 turns in a row, I guess. Why not? Fuck it.
Ha! That's a win. Awesome. You're wondering, wait, what?
In a bizarre case of Colin potentially not being the most busted thing in the video game, most of my try-hard strategies were some variation of the following. 1. Pick Eagle and Sammy. 2. Fill those power bars. 3. Have a teacopter with a man in it, basically anywhere on the map. 4. Press Dual Strike. Eagle moves the copter twice and dumps out the little man. Sammy matches the infantry onto their headquarters and caps it in 1 turn. GG. During the campaign, there are some missions where there's a fight going on both of the DS's 2 screens, and you have to send extra guys to help a friendly AI who's also doing a battle. I guess just to show off the console's dumb gimmick. I always hate these a lot because the AI was bad and broke all of the nice things I sent them.
And a tank, sure.
Wow, fantastic. I forgot to actually fire at this guy.
Days of Ruin's the last game in the franchise, and it's still pretty good.
Right there that you want to take care
We're in a totally different, serious, gritty, well, for Nintendo, post-apocalypse now, with a brand new set of characters and wide overhauls to the systems. COs have to be physically inserted into units to do stuff. Motorbikes exist as a fast alternative to infantry, and anti-tank guns are around to try and curtail rampant tank and copter spam. The C units in Days of Ruin are great, and for the first time they actually feel like they do things for their gigantic price tags. Battleships being able to move and then shoot any guy within 5 tiles in the same turn, and carriers generating funny little planes as they mill about. The campaign stat's very fun, but does get bogged down in weird dumb bullshit towards the end, unfortunately. There aren't nearly as many maps or modes or characters or things, generally, as there used to be, and the bad guys all have busted powers and are too anime. The music's very good in this one, though. And there was that for like a decade. They've since remastered the first 2 games, and they look very pretty. I especially like how the little CEO portraits emote now. But they are purely cosmetic reskins of easily emulatable games being sold for full price on a console I don't own, so, you know, whatever. In that time, there have been approximately 100 Fire Emblem games that have been released, and none of those were very good. In conclusion, we need to kill Fire Emblem.
Let's see.
To close this out, there does exist a fan-made multiplayer Advance Wars service known as Advance Wars by Web. It's existed since I was in high school and nobody played it, but it seems to have seen a resurgence as of late. You get like an Halo rating now, and it looks a bit less rubbish. I wonder if you can still place blank tiles in the map maker that all units can move over for 0 move cost. I used to like that. Back in the day, I'd make sprite art maps and annoy everyone on the forums, but it was under a different username, and it's been a hot minute. I'm aware of this thing, but I haven't played it in probably 15 years, and almost certainly won't. So don't ask me about it. Advance Wars is just a thing that happened in the past for me. A fond memory. Even my biannual replays of the second game have long since ceased. Partly I grew out of it, or at least just got so familiar with the game that it got less and less fun for me on replays. Partly it is embarrassment at how much of a little shit I used to be on the Advance Wars by web forums. A genuine concern for me is how much online content creator and real-life sexual assaulter Mangs has become the face of the series on the internet. Looking up anything Wars related on here is going to see you having to scroll past a fair few Mangs playlists before you get to anyone who only might be a sex criminal. A consistent reminder that, oh, I am not welcome here. You can play it though, if you want.
I've been trying to solve this game for weeks, dude. Whatever it takes to win, I'm all over it.
Hey! Hey, hey! Hey, you didn't pay! You gotta pay attention! Hey! Come back, you little runt!
Can't escape, that's not what we want. Wibbling. We really need to not get hit by Grand Cross again. I think we spent too long trying to get back on our feet after the first one. Honestly, we spent too long trying to recover from the stuff we'd expended in the first round. Just not that impressive, these hits. The damage going out. It's small damage. I need you to hit the enemy with your knife. I don't see a shield up. Okay, it's like 1600 to not die to that. That is so much grinding. Has this ever happened to you? ALMAGHEST is a rough transliteration of the Arabic ALMAGHEST, the majestic one, which is itself a translation of the original Greek superlative magist, greatest. I'ma keep it 100. That was from the Final Fantasy wiki.
We bridge.
There was always going to be some FF5 on here. You knew it. I knew it. It's a quick little one, though. We're talking about just one spell. We're going to stay laser focused. First, though, we're going to talk about Final Fantasy V's antagonist, Exdeath.
Actually, the judges find a way to deal with this problem because they've decided, okay, fine, he's not a werewolf, but we do have to determine if he is a Christian.
What year is this trial taking place?
This is happening in 1691.
Yeah, it seems about right.
Yep. Exdeath will also be the name of my firstborn child, but in case you're watching this in the future and are confused, we're talking about the fella from the game I like. Ed, to his friends, was once a humble tree, until the denizens of the world filled that tree with too many demons. Just an unreasonable amount of demons.
Yes, do you go to church? Do you take the Lord's Supper? Do you pray? And Theus says, no, I'm too old to understand these things.
At this point, naturally, the tree transformed into a warlock. Exdeath was born. Ed's design is beautiful, powerful, imposing, stylish. He's a giant knight in shining armor who also happens to be the most powerful wizard in the world, and also happens to be lots of evil spirits in a tree. FF5 is nuts, and so is Exdeath, even going so far as to turn himself into a splinter, to trick the Warriors of Light into leading him to a turtle. I swear this game is good.
We are going to just never mention the werewolf thing again.
At the climax of the game, he's ready to unleash the power of the void into the world, becoming a long tree for the climactic face-off, and then becoming This, for the even more climactic, even more final battle, only in his Neo-X death form, Ned to his friends. Where up is down and the laws of the universe mean nothing, can he cast his most powerful spell, ALMAGHEST, hitting the whole squad at once for a frankly terrifying amount of holy damage. This is going to produce even scarier numbers if you've got the bone mail equipped, but that also offers a wide suite of resistances to the many status effects that Ned will be tossing at you throughout the fight, so it might actually be worth it for a really high level squad, such as in Loon's legendary Quad Circuit run, which we'll get to. ALMAGHEST features in a few other games in the FF series as just a really, really powerful mass damage spell, but generally it's kind of X-Death's signature move. He gets it in Dissidia and FF14 and stuff, as far as the wiki says. I don't play that shite. As well as being an extremely powerful spell, it's also just a very powerful statement on top of that. He's the most extra villain in a series of extremely extra villains. Everything about him is so perfectly on brand. And while he's a big dumb ham, the tone of the game's generally very light and he can get real when he needs to. His signature move is called the best spell. It deals the most damage. Perfect. No notes.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those things that would just kind of get lost. Not out of deliberate.
I've lost count of how many attempts I've done by now. At this point, I just want to win. Okay.
A Super Auto Pet's emotional crisis is a YouTube video in which user Mirko has a serious emotional event over the course of 7 riveting minutes of Super Auto Pet's gameplay. SAP being a free indie auto battler for small children to play on their phones, in which your squad of up to 5 animal emotes bumps into other teams from around the world. This video, at the time of writing, has 119 views, and deserves that many million. Mirko is a poet, and his helpful but scary thoughts about striving to be one of the great people are poignant and deeply comedic, especially when contrasted against my own mental image of a 6-year-old just picking all their favourite bugs and then beating him, while he glumly laments the uselessness of his strategies. It's very hard for me to tell what's right and wrong. What are the correct things to do? And what are not the correct things to do? I don't know anymore. Did I go totally the wrong way? Was the cat the wrong decision? It's a Super Auto Pet's existential crisis. It's good stuff, folks. And I do think this video works on 2 levels for someone who's been around on YouTube for a significant amount of time. Down here at the bottom, getting double-digit views and a single comment that inexplicably says, "Is this your content that you made yourself?" The video's funny. The situation's funny in general, and Mirko's way with words, as he's obviously having a very real moment, elevates the thing. But I'm not laughing at him. I do hope he's okay, I mean. I checked the channel and it looks like he's still about and still bumping those animals together. Good luck with that, by the way. In general, though, Let's Plays, and maybe any videos from tiny little channels like this, there's something about them that's hard to pin down. Noted person I watched as a kid and was shocked to hear was still extant and making videos recently, Ben Yahtzee Croshaw, once said that YouTube is like throwing a message in a bottle into the sea, but instead of water, the sea is just other bottles with messages in them. He's a crass and silly man whose intro music is too loud, so he probably said some other horrible things too in the same breath, but that one quote came back to me once I'd been out here making shitty videos myself for a little while. YouTube is a weird, dumb hobby for idiots who like the idea of being seen and heard without wanting the pressure of actually being seen and heard. And that frequently means we say something we shouldn't, or upload something we shouldn't, either to fill out a pointless schedule we've made for ourselves, or just because we recorded it, and the idea of getting any feedback at this point is so foreign that why not upload? YouTube for me was always a thing I did to give myself a little push to not drop games halfway through. It didn't work and I still do it all the time. And is kind of a diary for someone who is too weird and stubborn to actually keep a diary. This means that sometimes you record when you're not in the right mood, or something happens while you're live and you just keep rolling, because why not? You're only talking to you. And the end result is you crying into a mic over your inability to click the right animals in a game made for children, and then broadcasting it to the internet without a second thought. I watch a lot of videos from tiny little channels like this, even when they're not recommended to me with such an evocative title as A Super Auto Pet's Emotional Crisis. Because I set myself a lot of stupid projects that require me to know a lot about video games and how people play them. And also because I kinda just like watching people be people and vibe out with a video game when I need to de-stress. Sometimes though, it feels kind of like I'm intruding, peeking through a window into someone else's real life. Here's a personal one. I've been severely depressed for about as long as I can remember being a person. Don't fucking leave a comment about that either, this is just prerequisite information for the story. When you're down for a really long time, your brain starts rebelling against you, and it'll say stuff you really don't want it to, just to piss you off. When I'm really down, it goes, I'm gonna fucking kill myself, in response to basically any bad thing happening. And sometimes, when I'm not watching what I'm saying carefully enough, it happens out loud. I find this deeply embarrassing. I know for a fact there's an episode of my Giant Pirates Let's Play where someone I hate yells at me IRL. I drop the line, sulk for a while, wondering if I should keep going, and then keep going. I could have scrapped the video, or edited it out, or anything but upload the raw, unedited audio, but I didn't. And right now this is somewhere in the middle of a 1,000,000-part Let's Play where I personally will never find it, but someone randomly clicking a recommended video might. I'm not laughing at anybody in particular. Whatever psychosis causes this to happen is in me as well. It's an interesting, if not worrying, phenomena, though, and I think about it often. Mirko's silly video was just the easiest way I could think of to segue into this. It's funnier and an easier watch than someone contemplating suicide over images of pixelated nipples. It's the combination of the pressure to say something that does it, the looming stress that intensifies in each moment of dead air, and the lack of a real tangible audience, the one-way communication. Whatever's on your mind is going to come out. Dear Diary, today Hang on a minute, I need to jump over a barrel. People were put together over billions of years of tiny iterations, adapting to a world alien from the one that we live in now. A lot has happened in a very short span of time, and with each new great leap in technology, with each shrinking of the world and the boundaries between its inhabitants, with each new mode of expression, is a new hurdle that sees part of us reeling. The deep, ancient brain that remembers spear hunting out of mud huts and thinks the wheel is a novel concept. We will never be comfortable here, out on the digital frontier. We're not built for it. And I have only respect for my peers, my brothers and sisters, and non-gender specific siblings who sojourn here, no matter how often the circumstances of their weird hobby sees them appearing to be actual maniacs. They really make you think, you know? Those super auto pets.
Strat I could possibly go for. I don't know anymore. It's a super auto pet's existential crisis.